What's up, everybody? We got young Anthony Housen in the house tonight. It's me,
yes.
OG Fit Kid. Mike BELCASTER not here tonight, so I had to go out and find a special guest to help me with the All Elite wrap up. Maybe we'll call it the All Elite wrap down tonight because we got this guy here, young Anthony.
Tom, you got me talking about AEW during WrestleMania week. You really outdone yourself on this one. I'm so glad to be here. It's the first time we're doing something together since God knows when.
I know it's been quite a while, dude. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
good. How you're doing?
There we go. Back to old time's sake.
I had to do it just once. I won't do it again. But yeah, dude, like let's tell people before we get started. I listened to your podcast today. The Titantron is back.
Oh, thank you.
Incredible job of putting it together. So well done.
Thank you.
Different segments. I really liked how you did it. Guys, if you haven't listened to it yet, tell the people about it, dude.
So it was a podcast that I started in April 2020 during the pandemic. The first episode I ever recorded was a review of Mania 36, and it was the worst piece of shit that I ever created. And I promised myself I would never do something like that ever again. So I continued to keep evolving the show, and then I got to the point where I was just tired of it, and I started doing stuff with us, and I did Classic Match Classroom and, you know, the independent wrestling stuff, and I was like, let me put Titantron on the back burner for a little bit. Peeling back the curtain a little bit, I'm also involved with St. Francis College's SFC Radio, and we've got this brand new radio station this year, and a lot of my friends at the college are also huge wrestling fans. So I figured this was the perfect time to bring back the show, but also to incorporate some guest hosts for the first time. So that's the new dynamic of the show. Like Tom said, there's multiple segments, but overall, it's just a bunch of wrestling fans shooting the shit. And I'm just happy to have the show back because, like, it holds a very near and dear place in my heart. You know, that's the first show I ever did, and so I'm happy to bring it back.
It's fun listening to it, getting to listen to a bunch of young guys, like their opinions and stuff of what's going on. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I'm glad you texted me and asked me if I listened to it today. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, guys. If you get the chance, go listen to it. It's definitely worth the listen. We got Tyson in the house, and I gotta say, dude, like, I'm so proud of you. You've come so far since I've discovered you and like brought you on.
Since you've discovered me, what are you, a talent scout?
Oh, we had you on a debate show. You left, and me and Chad were like, "That guy's good. Like, we got to see if he wants to do something."
Oh,
I think I messaged you that night and said, "Hey, you want to do the SmackDown recap show?" We started that. It evolved into the Raw Down, and look at you now. You're doing the indie work all on the indies. Like, you're just exploding. One day you're going to be in WWE. You're better than Kevin Patrick already. So, I mean,
it's hard to be better than KP, but I'll take that.
It's hard. It's not hard to be better than KP.
KP's the GOAT. What can I say?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Tyson, I did watch the show. Thank you very much, Tyson. I did watch tonight.
Of course he watched tonight. He's a wrestling fan. He watches everything when he can. So, listen, I watched all Raw this week. I watch, I think, all of Raw every week. I don't miss Raw, and I usually watch SmackDown. I work Friday night, so I have to come home, watch it, and I fast forward through the boring stuff. But honestly, like, it's the commercials lately that I've been fast forwarding through. They've done such a good job to build up to Mania, but we're not here to talk about Mania this week. We're here to talk about the Dynamite that we just watched, and I heard you talk about it on your podcast this week, and it continued tonight. The interweaving storyline throughout the night starts with Omega and Cal's. Like, what'd you think of that tonight? Like, I loved it.
It was good. I think this is a smart way to build up the story. Obviously, this is the biggest story that you could put on right now. I mean, just let alone having the Elite back together, but putting them up against a heel Blackpool Combat Club makes it 10 times better. Yeah, I talked about it on the show last week, but, you know, interweaving that one story throughout the entirety of the show, I feel like just puts everything together. Like, it doesn't feel like everything's on its own island, although there are some segments that still feel like, you know, here's this thing and there's that thing, but that's expected on a wrestling show. I did watch tonight. I don't know what you were talking about. But I feel like even though it was great to see, again, the Elite versus the Combat Club being that one story as the driving force, like I said on the show, I wish that we were doing this for some other stories as well, because I feel like that could solve your issue of, you know, having House of Black on 1 week and not seeing them for another 2 weeks. Rather, you just have them in multiple segments throughout the show. I don't know what you think about that, but I mean, I'm still happy with how they've been building up this Elite storyline. I think it's pretty smart, and I'm excited for Blood and Guts because this is easily the match that they're going to do.
Oh yeah, and like you said, Blackpool Combat Club as bad guys, as the heels, like they just work as heels. Like they're so vicious, they'll beat the shit out of you. Like I think everybody saw when Danielson came out tonight, and like you just knew he was not there to help Omega. You knew it was a setup.
I was praying for him to turn on Omega, so I was happy that it went through.
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved every second of it. I loved the backstage segment, but apparently PW Insider is reporting that Callis was legit busted open. It wasn't planned.
Really?
He hit his head on the thing, and he was, when they said he's being looked at in the back, that was all true apparently. So that was not a planned spot for him to be busted open and bleeding like that.
It looked like he was, busted open with a razor or something, with the way that he was Moxley bleeding on the floor.
Did you see the way he was covering his head when they cut to that?
Yeah.
But first I thought he really hit his head, but then the way his hands were, I'm like, oh, I think he just bladed.
Yeah.
But at first I thought he really cut himself. So they're reporting that he was legit busted open. The whole Callis thing is so intriguing to me. Here's my question to you, because we know Don Callis and Kenny Omega go together. Don Callis is like a gem. He's a great manager. He's great when he jumps on commentary. Do you think at all this could be possibly them setting up the split from Omega and Callis in case Omega does jump ship and go to WWE?
I didn't think of it in terms of WWE. I feel like that's not really a huge factor for Omega when it comes to jumping ship to the WWE, because you could immediately just put Callis with someone else and, it wouldn't really be a huge thing. Like they've already planted seeds with like Takeshita and, some other wrestlers that Callis has been scouting out. So I think with or without the WWE as a factor, I feel like Omega and Callis are going to split up. There's a lot of like, even with this story now, like, maybe Callis joins the Combat Club. And honestly, that's the one option that I wouldn't want to see. I just feel like it wouldn't be I just don't think it would be that like good of a pairing. Like, especially when you consider like Regal was always the mouthpiece for the Combat Club and he worked for that group. When you put someone like Callis in, who's more of like, we've already seen him as that loudmouth kind of, promoter. I feel like he doesn't really fit with the Combat Club, nor does the Combat Club need a mouthpiece to begin with at this stage in their careers. So I do think that they're going to split them apart, but I don't think it's going to be like Callis is going to go over to the other side on the Combat Club. I think it'll just be like, now it's time for Callis to do something else instead of being with a baby face Omega.
I don't know what's happening with Omega, but if Omega's not leaving, I can't imagine why they'd split up Callis and Omega because of how well they are together. Like he just adds to anything Kenny does. He's so friggin' good. Sneak peek at the debate on Monday. We had one of the debate topics is Heenan or Heyman, which was a friggin' great conversation. It's well worth checking out. But we talked about how Callis is cut from the same mold of Heyman and Heenan. And I just think this guy is so valuable to the company. And if Omega does jump ship, AEW can't let him go. He's too good. He's too good.
Well, you just said it. Callis is so valuable to the company. You already look at someone like Omega, who in and itself is one of the biggest stars in the company. You might as well put Callis with someone who's evolving as a younger star, or they're, someone who they're looking to build up. So maybe they're going in that route. Maybe Callis is going to be aligned with a younger star that they're trying to get over into the main event scene. So I'm not too worried about it. I was interested in you bringing up the WWE because as much as it's never seemed like a possibility, it definitely is a possibility that Omega could be jumping ship, which is...
Are we both laughing at the same time? The Jackal was better. Yeah, I don't know if I can't picture Omega's really going to jump to WWE.
I could see it.
I could see it, but I don't know. Like he's so... unless at this stage he's ready for his body to rest and not do what he's been doing in New Japan and AEW, and he gets to wrestle that cleaner style of WWE, like that would make sense to me.
Well, look at it like he's 30, whatever, high 30s. Yeah. He's not getting any younger, and he's just coming off of this huge injury that he was out for at least close to a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it comes down to the schedule or if it comes down to other factors, but I'm sure he's looking at the option of WWE and thinking, maybe this could be something, because he already has a lot of connections with the WWE. Apparently, WWE is on good terms with Kenny, so you have that. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility.
Kenny came up in WWE developmental.
OVW, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Trained with Cardona and Myers and all those guys who came up at that time.
There's videos of Kenny on the WWE YouTube page, and it just has his name and everything. It's very weird.
Oh, really?
Well, from OVW, yeah.
Well, that's cool. So let's talk about Omega versus Cobb. Like, Cobb did not impress me tonight. He was fine, but he looked like any other guy his size. Not to totally shit on a guy, but Omega just makes everybody look good.
Yeah.
He's so good. What did you think of Cobb? Have you seen him before tonight?
I've seen better Cobb matches
Okay.
from past Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff like that I've tuned into. I like Cobb. I think his strongest suit is definitely his athleticism, and I think that was on display in the earlier stages of the match. But as it kind of went along, it just started to drag a little bit for me. Like, things got slow. There were a few botches. I wasn't really like that big on this match. Omega's always great. I feel like he was the one really carrying this match. I mean, as he should. He's probably the best in-ring performer in the world right now. So match was fine. I'm comparing it to last week, and obviously, like, it's no comparison.
Yeah.
But it was a decent match. It was around that 3.5, 3-star range.
Okay, I agree with that. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and this is gonna seem a little weird, but let's go right to the end, to the main event. We got the returning Adam Cole, baby, and he fights Garcia. And something dawned on me this match while I was watching it. First of all, let's one thing I didn't like is them playing on a concussion angle in the ring. Like,
Mhm.
like, what did you think of that? Did that bother you at all?
I had a feeling they were going to do that. Like, even with the pile driver and all of that, like, I knew that was going to happen. It's always a little weird, but like, I'm sure they had to have agreed, to have done that spot. So I think that's what kind of allows me to just like take it in as a wrestling fan, but it is what it is. You didn't like it, you said?
No, I didn't say that. Cobb looked slow and didn't know where he should be. Kenny looked frustrated with Cobb. He even messes up the tour of the Island's Power Slam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that Kenny being the type of guy who's going to get frustrated and show it.
Yeah. I don't think he was frustrated. He did mess up that power slam though, and that's one of my favorite moves. So it was shitty to see that.
No, I thought the main event was well, but during the main event, something like, I'm glad to see Adam Cole's back. I think he has a lot to offer.
Mhm.
But what I was wondering during the main event, and like, I came up with this genius brainstorm, and then I kind of changed it when we saw Jericho come out at the end. I'm thinking, what if Adam Cole was the one behind the attacks on the Elite, considering how he left and they set that up? But then they kind of threw a monkey wrench into that when Jericho came out and did that over the shoulder look. But
Yeah.
I think that would be a hell of an interesting story, though, because of what happened when he left. The last time we saw them all together was that little clip from backstage when Kenny was saying, "I'm going to take time off," and Adam Cole's like, "I'll be here," and he's like, "I wasn't talking to you." Like, it set up a
It's
future
true.
story. So I like, this could be friggin' genius because it's tying even more into this story that could be unfolded, a little bit down the line. So maybe Adam Cole's actually working with the Blackpool Combat Club. Maybe he hired them to go after the Elite. But then Jericho comes out, and it's kind of mystery. Like, he's helping Daniel Garcia, but he's doing that little look back. Like, again, I feel like they planted more seeds for a story here. How'd you
Yeah.
like?
I completely forgot about that final Cole, Omega, and the Bucks promo backstage. They're definitely going to have to go back to that and tie up that story in, because like, you can't not address that. But I think they're at the point right now where it's like Cole has to be a single star and he needs to be a baby face. Like, it wouldn't do him any favors to go back and start doing the Elite stuff and be involved with all of that. I would say just let him go on his own path, and just, obviously, I think this is going to end up with an MJF match. I don't know when, if you do that at Double or Nothing or whenever you do it. But I think it has to end up being Cole versus MJF for the title. Not to say he's going to win it, but I do think that would be a good kind of, this is the Adam Cole moment right here. Like, this kind of brings him back into the main fold of things, in his beginning stages of his AEW run. Like, it wasn't set, like people were still wishy-washy on him. Like, there was a whole Cole and Orange Cassidy match that everyone just completely shit on, and rightfully so. But I think allowing him to be this babyface single star going forward can put kind of good graces around Cole once again. I'm also going to say I don't like that we're doing Cole and Jericho. I just think it's like, how many times are we going to do the Jericho feud? Like, Jericho has had so many. I'm going to get shit on it, but it is what it is.
Explain it, and then I'll shit on it.
I just feel like all of Jericho's stories are just, maybe this is, I think the overall issue with Jericho is that it's just been the Jericho Appreciation Society / Inner Circle Jericho for the longest time. Like, it's always been him with a group. It's always, you have to go through Garcia and you have to go through Guevara and, Jake Hager, a match for him. So now we're going to do all that for Cole. Like, is it just going to be the Ricky Starks angle, but just swapping Adam Cole? Like, how can we make this different? That's what I'm interested in seeing. And the fact that there must be some, like, I don't know the history off the top of my head between Cole and Jericho. Like, maybe they've interacted before. Maybe he had him on his podcast. I don't know whatever it is. But there's got to be something going into this match that can make this more than just a go through all of the Jericho Appreciation Society members and then get to Jericho type match. Because, like, I've seen it a million times. I'd rather just see Jericho and Cole just do a one-off match and, call it that. Because it'll be a good match. But it's like, what can we do for the story?
You make great points all around there. I do agree. And it's time to do something else with JAS. Even if it's maybe have a couple of guys leave or something, or turn on him, or I don't know what it is, but I feel like the way Jericho was looking back at Adam Cole, it was like some type of a story to be told there. Maybe, like you said, that's something from the past that we're not remembering. I don't think they ever crossed paths in WWE, so I don't know if it's the podcast. But dear God, I hope tonight is the last time we have to see Adam Cole and Britt Baker on screen together. Let it be to welcome him back. Fine, that's fine. But we don't need another Sammy and Ty thing all over again just to ruin guys' momentums. Apparently, Britt's is still injured. Her neck injury is now spread down to her back. So, and that's why she's probably been dropped from the feud with the Outcasts. Because it would have made perfect sense for her to run out with Jamie Hayter tonight. It was kind of shocking just to see Jamie went out by herself and then Britt come out at the end. But then after the show was over, I'm on PW Insider, and it confirmed that Britt still does have an injury, and it's not getting better. It's actually getting worse. But so that's not good. But again,
kind of switching gears a little bit to the Outcasts, since you mentioned them, I did like seeing Jamie on her own tonight. I feel like she's always been associated with Britt. They're always going to be kind of joined together unless one turns on the other. But it was nice just seeing Jamie, like, she's the champion. You sometimes forget that she's champion because she's associated with Britt. So I think even though it sucks that Britt is injured and now apparently it's getting worse, that's even worse to hear. I think this will allow Jamie to kind of step up a little bit. She has a match with Riho next week. There's history with them. And obviously it's going to be, I guess Jamie is the Sting to the Outcast NWO. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to seeing them do a little bit more with Jamie Hayter and kind of get her out of that Britt Baker shadow, if you will.
Well, okay, 2 points to make here. First of all, I feel like, maybe I'm way off base, I just feel like Rio is going to be joining the Outcast sooner or later.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't know if she fits.
I don't know if she fits either, but she seems like she's not quite in with the AEW. Like when she was fighting with the other ones, remember she was coming out with the kendo stick and she never really looked fully comfortable being on their side. So I don't know if that's going to anything. I feel like it is going somewhere. I kind of hope it is. But the big payoff we've never gotten yet is, and they've teased this for how long, but the Jamie Hayter Britt Baker feud. And I feel like that was about to happen. And then when we were out, what was the show we were at last year? What was it called in the stadium?
Grand Slam?
Grand Slam, yeah. I feel like Saraya coming at that point kind of made them stop that story there. I felt like it was about to hit I can't even talk. They're about to go head on with each other, and then all of a sudden that was dropped when Saraya showed up.
Do you
So
really think that they need to split up Jamie and Britt at this point? Because like even though there's some story with them, like I'm completely fine with them being together. Like if you're gonna tease it and stop it, like I'd rather them just be together and kind of have this alliance than
well, now that they're faces, I don't think it works. But when they were both heels, and they would tease in the breakup, and the fans were really cheering for Jamie. I thought it made a lot of sense to do it. Now, like you said, it kind of doesn't make any sense. Maybe down the road they'll revisit it at some point and make it make sense again. But
Yeah.
right now, it doesn't really make any sense at all. Maybe eventually, Britt goes heel again on Jamie, saying, "I made you. If it wasn't for me, latching on to me," and they have a story that way.
or vice versa. You have Britt as the face and Jamie turns on her as the heel, which could be an interesting dynamic.
I mean, they both work as heels. I guess we got to see which one works at getting over as a face better. I mean, Britt and Saraya promo last year. I'm sure you remember the promo I'm talking about where they started off cheering for Saraya, but by the end they turned on Saraya and were cheering for Britt. Like I think that's great. I just wish they need to do a little something more with the Outcasts. It just seems like it's the same story every week. First it was Sky Blue fighting all three of them on a week by week basis. Now we're gonna get the same thing with Willow Nightingale. Tonight she had Ruby. Next week I'd see her fighting Saraya or somebody else. It just let's change it up a little bit. Let's maybe have a Rio join them. Do something different.
Yeah, I thought originally before, because I didn't really even know that Britt was injured. I've kind of been off of wrestling Twitter and everything, so I haven't really been paying attention to, behind the scenes stuff. But before I knew that Britt was injured, I thought this was going to be in some capacity the blood and guts match to kind of counteract the whole War Games and the women having the War Games match at Survivor Series, and to kind of give a little kick to the women's division in AEW. I thought you'd do the Outcast versus Jamie, Britt, and whoever else you aligned with them. But now that I feel like you could tell that they were going in that route, but now that Britt's injury has obviously gotten worse, like they've kind of had to divert from that. And it just seems like there's no clear end goal for this. Like, is Jamie going to have to defend the title against all three of them and go one by one? Is there like a sole person that she's going to have to face? Is it going to be a fatal four-way? Like these are all answers that, or no, rather, they're all questions that we aren't going to have answers for.
Not Jeopardy.
Yeah. What is the AEW? I don't know.
Good idea for AEW to do a dual blood and guts, a female and a men's, or no? Just leave that to WWE.
No, I can see them do. I don't know if you could do that on TV though, because I don't think you have enough time to do that. But I could definitely see them doing that.
I want a blood and guts. If you're going to give me a blood and guts again, put it on the pay-per-view. I don't want picture-in-picture during my blood and guts. Please.
I agree.
That's one thing I ask of. And, it'd be great. Remember last time they did that 2-ring battle royal when they had the blood and guts? So, but yeah, Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite and the blood and guts. Yes, please.
It's got to be that.
Let me have that. If there's anybody on the AEW roster right now to join the Outcast that you think would be shocking, who do you think it would be? Is there anyone? Maybe there's nobody.
Well, I originally pitched that you do, because this is me thinking as if there was going to be the blood and guts match, that you do on one side it's the Outcast, all three of them. On the other side you have Britt, Jamie, and I guess Hikaru Shida, because she hasn't been really doing much. And then since like technically you would need 4-on-4 on the Outcast side, you have Taya Valkyrie since she just came in and she kind of fits that mold of, being released by WWE, didn't really get a chance to shine. She's been doing her stuff on the indies and Impact. And then on the other side with the baby faces, you put Jade Cargill, because she has absolutely nothing going on right now. You finally fully turn her face, and then you start to plant the seeds to let Jade get that AEW Women's Championship.
What about, I have a better idea. What if you make Jade join the Outcasts and say this division sucks? For real. Like, I've been fighting the same people and beating them 50 times already.
The thing about the Outcasts is like, because I was also thinking about this on the Titantron last week, we were kind of making the argument that it like, you don't want the outsiders to feel so much like, you don't want the Outcasts to feel so much like the outsiders. And as I was editing the show, I was kind of like, I think we kind of missed the boat on this, because it's not so much that the outcasts are the outsiders. I think the outcasts are the outcasts. Like, they got released from WWE.
Yeah.
They were doing their own thing. They've been shunned away on the AEW roster. So if you're going to add anyone to that group, you need someone who fits that mold. That's why it's like when you throw out names like Riho or like Jade, it's like that would be good for the overall dynamic of the group, like just strengthening them.
I think Jade would be awesome.
I think Jade would be too, but you just need someone who fits that character arc. Like, not saying that she would ever join, because I don't even think she's joining AEW at this point, but someone like Mercedes Moné or, Sasha Banks, her coming into that group would work really well because it adds that star power, but it also fits the overall story. Contron. It's the Titantron, bud.
But seriously, like, I don't know. I think Jade comes out and you think she's going to help the good guys, and then she helps the outcasts.
I would like to fucking anything with Jade at this point. Like, just put her in the story. Like, they're doing this, think of it this way. Valkyrie's banned from using the move. Like, give me a break.
And then you get Jade set up against Jamie Hayter that way because they're on opposite sides. And then you get that, ultimately you get to that match of title for title.
I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, I think that works. I think it's fun. I guess we'll see where it goes. We're going to say, I had another question. I thought about it while we were talking about this, about something else on the show, and it's totally escaped my mind. What else did you like on the show tonight?
What else did I like on the show tonight? Well, I really like that the Butcher seemed like a real threat to Orange Cassidy's international title reign. I'll tell you that. Let me ask you,
that was a sloppy ass match, wasn't it?
It was.
I want to show.
Why are they putting Orange Cassidy on TV Well, I like that the international title is getting, the exposure, right? Like, this seems to be the new mid-card championship, and the TNT title has just become an afterthought, which I think is hilarious, even though they built up so much prestige with the TNT title, but fuck it. But when I originally said that the All-Atlantic title was not needed, and everyone was telling me, oh, you're wrong, this, that, and the other thing, and I said, the minute that you see a graphic for the All-Atlantic title that had a United States wrestler with the U.S. flag versus a United States wrestler with the USA flag one-on-one, that it completely defeats the purpose of the All-Atlantic title. Like, wasn't the whole point of the All-Atlantic Championship, everyone was saying, oh, it's going to be AEW's version of the European Championship, and it's going to be more of an international flair, and you're going to see it defended overseas and all of this. Like, that happened for a little bit with Pac, but then once Orange Cassidy got the title, even though he's been doing a phenomenal job, doing all these matches, great reign, it's against United States wrestlers. Like, where's that international flair?
Okay, well, I'm gonna counter you here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. First of all, the title should have been called the international title from the beginning.
True.
It's never been called the All-Atlantic title because you have Japan in there. Japan is not in the Atlantic. It made no sense. Right. So they fixed that, which I'm very, very proud of. Let me ask you this, young Anthony. Okay, this is just total me playing devil's advocate. What does intercontinental mean?
That's true. No, that's a good point. And you can even make the same thing. The United States Championship. Yep. There's only wrestlers from the United States.
United States Heavyweight Championship.
I just think it's like when you introduced that title originally with the multiple countries.
I told you I'm just playing devil's advocate, but like,
as you normally do.
And in WWE, that's always American versus American. So I don't mind it so much. And I feel like this title's been probably the best book title in AEW lately.
Oh, it is. Absolutely it is. Just based on a wrestling standpoint. Yeah, that's just a little nitpick thing about
I see what you're coming from. Like, the European title was always defended on Monday Night Raw as well. Like, it wasn't just saved for over there. So it's just a reason to have another title. Like, they've destroyed the TNT title. Like, that title's become total garbage.
Did they even put it on the show tonight, or did I miss that?
What?
The TNT title. Just anything with it.
Hobbs had a little vignette. There was a little vignette with him.
Exactly.
But then again, House of Black has gone Rampage again this week. So they weren't on Dynamite last week. They're not on this week. And I have no problem with them being on Rampage, but damn, they're one of the hottest things you have in that company, and you're not putting them on TV. I think they've done a much better job at using the hot people every week, more so. But for some reason, they just don't do it with House of Black yet, and I just don't understand why. You need to get these guys on TV on Dynamite every friggin' week. People will turn in for them. They are great. Malachi is great. The whole team is just phenomenal.
I think and these last few weeks have been like a testament to it. I think this is, for me, in the last few months, maybe the last year or so, been, in my opinion, the best consistent level of storytelling that we've got from AEW,
100%.
based on just them telling the stories. But the only issue is that you have so many other wrestlers who are lacking stories. And although, yes, Dynamite is that main show and you need to fill up as much on that 2 hours as you can, obviously not everyone's going to be able to fit on Dynamite. So my question is, even though Dynamite is your main show, you also have Rampage, and you have, like, it just goes back to the age-old argument that we have. You have Rampage, you have Dark Elevation. You also have this all-access show now that I watched for 10 minutes and then I turned off.
I recorded it. I'm going to watch it. It's funny. We would just watch. Let's just talk real quick before me and Anthony jumped on here. We were watching a Cody Rhodes clip of an interview where he took credit for this reality show.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean, he's really not
I guess
wrong.
it was, if he was still there, it would have been whatever his Road season 2, whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I guess the way he's not wrong, but I just love how he had to point that out. But
they definitely got renewed for another season, and Cody was like, "Well, actually, I'll be moving now."
Yeah, but go ahead.
But going back to what I was saying, like, you know, you have Rampage, you have Dark Elevation, whatever else you have. I'm not saying like you need to put all these different guys on these shows and tell all stories, but like you have this elite Blackpool Combat Club story that's easily your best storytelling right now. Why don't you do one of those segments on Rampage? Make Rampage worth watching. You know, you're putting Action Andretti on Rampage and Taya Valkyrie. Why am I going to watch that at 10 p.m. Eastern? You know what I mean? Like, give me a reason to watch it. At least put your hottest story on there for an angle or something.
And here's the other disservice it does by putting those people over there. I haven't even seen Taya Valkyrie wrestle yet because she's always on Rampage. Show me her on Dynamite.
Right? Has she? I don't think she's wrestled on Dynamite at all.
Oh, no, she hasn't wrestled on Dynamite yet. Nope. She's strictly been on Rampage.
Right.
You have a new person there, and not everybody watches Dynamite and Rampage. You can tell by the ratings. Show her everybody else on Dynamite. Let's mix it up a little more somehow.
Right.
Let me ask you this, since we just mentioned all the TV shows. Since AEW got another hour on Wednesday nights, do you think that hour would have been better suited to make Dynamite 3 hours?
Probably. I mean, like, in theory, with their roster size, probably, but like, I think you turn off a lot of your audience if you go to 3 hours.
I was going to say, because then you have the whole WWE Monday Night Raw thing. Everybody's saying 3 hours is too long for a weekly TV show.
Yeah. And they struggle already with retaining that audience throughout the 2 hours. So if you add in a third hour, it's like.
Yeah. I think that, you got Ring of Honor on its own now. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen if, like, Cesaro loses the title and he stays on AEW now. I haven't really watched a Ring of Honor show yet. I don't know if you have. So I don't know how they're doing with the roster over there, if it's a ton of AEW people over there or just a couple. So, but I wanted to feel more.
I read the results, or at least just the matches, and it looks like a pretty even split. Like the world title match on Friday is going to be Eddie Kingston versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor title.
So Eddie Kingston's exclusively Ring of Honor now.
Right.
So you think Claudio loses the title and then sticks over to a storyline in AEW?
Yeah, I think so. I think Eddie's got to win that title.
Yeah, I think so. I guess that's and great for Eddie that he gets that shot now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the opening match. We got Matt Hardy versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I watched Matt Hardy and I just wish he'd hang up the boots. I love Matt Hardy. The Hardy boys are great. He's meant so much to this business, but like, this has got to be towards the end, right? We're getting towards the finish line with him. You think?
I mean, I like Matt Hardy. Obviously, great wrestler. Grew up watching him. I don't know where he fits on this roster anymore. Every match was predictable.
Exactly. He seems like he's shoehorned into everything. It doesn't seem like he fits.
This is a match that at least you could put Ethan Page in. Like we're sitting here like Ethan Page. Where's Ethan Page been? Like at least give him the top match on Dynamite. But I mean, it always feels like Matt Hardy just never has a solid place in AEW.
100%.
When he was doing the broken stuff when he first came in, still there wasn't really a place for it. And then he turned to the big money Matt Hardy, and then he was taking in all these tag teams, and there just wasn't a place for him. And then he goes over to the Hardy Boys, and it's like great nostalgia pop. But then after that Young Bucks match, it's like, where else do they go from here?
Yeah.
And now we're back to whatever they're doing with just putting these random wrestlers together. And sure, it's good that he got a match with Jungle Boy. I thought the match was decent.
It was fine.
It was a Matt Hardy match.
In that spot.
It was a good match for Jungle Boy to carry. It showed that he's definitely improving like almost every show, and you saw that in the promo afterwards.
I guess it's a point that it's a way for Jungle Boy to work with some more veterans and get those reps in. It's an important thing for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like oh, what could we do with Matt Hardy? Here he is. Let's put him with the firm so he's somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know if we'll ever see Jeff back. I don't know if it's good for Jeff to wrestle again. I don't know his situation, but
yeah.
I hope he's doing well. I know they say he's finished rehab and everything. So, but like I said, I don't know. I did enjoy that. But so yeah, we get the promo. MJF comes out and he wears the sunglasses in the ring. So we're all wondering, does he still have black eyes? We all want him. He takes the glasses off. His eyes are fine, which is good. Took 2 weeks to get rid of those eyes since we last seen him. But so we get that good promo, and Jungle Boy has improved immensely on the mic since he first started. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish his dad was still here to help him too. Like his dad was.
Oh yeah, good point.
It sucks, and I also think I'm also like at my age. You think, oh, it sucks. His dad never got to see him on the big time. His dad used to follow him around to all the indies, which is so cool. Like to have a dad, like was a pretty big star back in his day, but support his son and just go to little local indie wrestling events.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. But MJF, they're teasing the pillars. What is it? It's Jungle
Guevara,
Boy,
Darby,
yeah,
Jungle Boy, and MJF.
So, do you think we're leading to a fatal 4-way at the pay-per-view, or do you think it's going to be him versus one of them? And if it's him versus one of them, which one do you think would help main event the pay-per-view like that? And is there a chance that might not even be the main event?
So I do think that it's going to be a fatal 4-way.
Okay.
Because you're really at the point where it's like there's a lot of other people for MJF to still go up against, and realistically, MJF's gone up against all these guys at some point in his career already.
Yeah,
he's had feuds with Darby. Right, he's had a match with Darby. He's had a match with Jungle Boy that they talked about tonight. So you might as well just group all of them together so that MJF can at least say, I've beaten all 3 of the other pillars, say that I'm the best pillar or whatever it may be, and then move on to the other matches. I also don't think that would even be the main event because I'm fully set that this Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club is going to main event Double or Nothing, because how could you not? Whether it be the blood and guts, like I've been saying, or just a regular 4-on-4 elimination, whatever they do, this is the match. And I think, especially if you end up doing MJF versus 1-on-1, any of those 3 guys, that's not going to main event over this Elite Combat Club match. Yeah. There's no way that it can.
I wonder if they're going to use the same formula as last year with the pay-per-view, be Anarchy in the arena, and then do the blood and guts after that.
Maybe. I could see them doing that.
I don't know. I think they only need one of those types of matches.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo that.
Exactly. I got to really quite understand it last year. Apparently, other people within the company weren't happy when they found out they had to do the blood and guts after the Anarchy in the arena last year.
Right.
But so we'll see where that goes. But that should be a great match. I mean, fatal 4-way match, MJF is going to come out on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But do you foresee any of those other guys ever winning the AEW World Championship?
Just in their careers?
Yeah.
Darby, I would say Darby for sure.
Okay.
I think he's the number one.
Yeah.
Jungle Boy, it really depends how they book him.
Yeah.
If they continue on this path that he's on right now, just consistently throughout his career, sure, I could see him getting it as well. Sammy, no, I don't think. I don't
Really?
think we'll see Sammy getting the.
Really?
And it's just like I could see him winning the TNT title again. I can see him winning the Atlantic. But something is just telling me like probably not or maybe just like a transitional championship. Maybe moving it from one star to another star. You give that to Sammy, and he would be that type of guy. But he's at least like number 3 on that list of 3. Darby's easily number 1. I think he's going to win that title in the next few years.
Okay. I mean, I could definitely see Darby winning it. I'd probably put him on top 2. I think Jungle Boy is still building. I like what they did with MJF's promo tonight and building him. You really built him up in it, but I felt like he'd also helped give him a little edge by what he said to him, which I think Jungle Boy needs a little bit more of an edge. I love the fact they brought as well. I guess we could credit JR for bringing his real name into it. I think that helps solidifies him.
Jungle Jack Perry.
I mean, everybody used to laugh at JR when he said it, but it's taken off, and now everybody calls him Jack Perry. But I think it solidifies him as a wrestler instead of just being Jungle Boy. Like, imagine Jimmy Snuka was just known as Superfly the whole time. That's like the same type of thing, right?
Superfly. No, you're right. Yeah.
So I'm definitely cool with that. Anything else? What else happened on the show tonight worth talking about? I'm trying to think. Hey, no Renee Young tonight, was there?
What was that?
No Renee Young tonight.
No Renee Young. It was Marvez was he was the interviewer.
Damn.
They had a hype up for next week, the FTR and the Guns match.
Yeah, what do you think about that match? Now, I know you're one of the people who still thinks FTR might be jumping to WWE.
No, I'm pretty set that FTR is going to stay, and really, that's because of the extra cooler shirt. That's the only reason why. Unless it's a pro wrestling tees shirt for FTR, maybe they kind of ride out those merch sales for a little bit. We'll have to ask Nick about what the contract on that is, but no, I don't think FTR is. I would be very surprised. I would be happy if they left. Right, I would love them in WWE, but probably I think Tony knew that if he was going to bring back FTR, immediately they would have to be champions. Like, it wouldn't be another like come back, fight a few tag teams, and do the climb up to the title. Like, immediately you have to put the titles on them, because it was wrong of him not to do it when he had the chance to. And
make them the ball there, didn't they?
Right.
I mean, they dropped the ball the second half of last year altogether, because they weren't even on TV not fighting for the titles.
Right.
They were just forgotten from September on. So, I mean, I see their point, but I'm kind of curious. Like, I hate to say this, but in a text group, Hawk said, yeah, they're going to lose and go to Ring of Honor. I could see that happening. I could actually see that happening for a time being, and then go back to AEW. Somehow they get a match where if they win, they wind up getting a shot back in AEW.
I think that's just a disservice to them. Like, you go through this whole thing of, yes, there's the history with them being ROH tag champs, and they had the matches with the Briscoes, so they're obviously history with them. But it's like, you go through this whole thing. FTR has been off of TV, and now we're about to go into this title versus quote unquote career match, and then you're just going to bring them down to ROH, which you're technically telling us their AEW careers are still on, because realistically, ROH wrestlers can fight on AEW and vice versa. So, that's my only logic behind that.
They fight. Let's say they fight, and I'm just being devil's advocate because I fully believe they're staying in AEW. However, they lose, and everybody thinks they're going to show up in WWE. They wait a couple weeks, and they do a surprise appearance in Ring of Honor. Everybody goes nuts then. I mean, honestly, the one reason why I don't think FTR is going back to WWE, they enjoy setting their own schedule. They enjoy being able to take an indie booking and being to fight a tag team they've always wanted to fight. If they go back to WWE, that's not going to happen. I think they want to be in control of their own destiny at this point. Again, though, right now, I'd love to see them in a match with the Usos. I think that's the tag team match I think that'd be incredible right now.
I'm just saying, I think it would be very interesting if we see the Friday, the SmackDown after Mania, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are cutting a promo in the ring. All of a sudden, the Revival come in and beat them down, baby.
I mean, would it be fun? Yeah. Is it going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. But
unfortunately, well, again,
it would be. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, the tag team division isn't strong enough for FTR to want to come in. I mean, I agree, right? Outside of the Usos and Sammy and KO, like it's definitely weak to an extent. But I mean, you also have to look at it like this is the most important that the tag team division as a whole have been in the last few years, just with Triple H being
Oh,
involved.
way more than a few years, dude. I agree.
Oh, well, a long time. I mean, even with, I know it's gotten some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Like I said on a debate show this week that this is the biggest tag match in WWE we've probably seen in 20 years. The most build up for the Usos versus. So that's why it has to main event night one for me.
Right.
So the fact that they have a tag match with such a build, like to me, is incredible because we haven't seen that in such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, who knows? But
yeah,
I do think FTR is going to stay though. Unfortunately, I would much
I don't know if
like.
it's unfortunate. It's not unfortunate.
I mean, I would much rather see FTR and WWE than AEW just because I feel like those matchups of Usos, Sammy, and KO, they're just more interesting to me personally. Like, you still have to do the the FTR and Young Bucks match. But then after that, it's like, who else?
Not to mention, you also got Dax and could go in and have some great singles matches in WWE. There's plenty of people
right
to work with. And again, you go in and you form a nice faction with them. You kind of Pinnacle kind of dropped the ball. You could kind of build a new 4 horsemen with them in WWE. I think that would be right up Triple H's alley.
Just think, okay, Tom, I'm gonna win you over now for FTR to come over to WWE. Just imagine, all right. WrestleMania comes and goes, right? Cody wins the world title. Charlotte retains the women's title. Stick with me. FTR, they beat down Sammy and KO on the SmackDown after Mania. Next pay-per-view, they win the tag titles, and you have Cody, Charlotte, and FTR as your new faction.
I didn't hate Charlotte so much. And that woman. I definitely would love Cody and FTR in a faction together.
Cody and FTR they work very well.
Yeah,
together.
if you can find like an awesome 4th person for them.
But just think of like
maybe you put KO and Sami Zayn win with them, and then you have a friggin' awesome 5-man faction.
That could be good too. I was just thinking like the history with Flair and Rhodes. You kind of put them together.
Yeah. Because Charlotte did make that comment the other day about a Rhodes and a Flair, and that's a hell of a point. That's a hell.
Just saying.
Yeah. Now listen, I'll tell you guys the truth. I haven't said this to anybody yet, but right now my fandom, I'm 50-50 WWE, AEW. I'm loving both companies right now. And I think the build to Mania has been great. I'm loving the stories on AEW. So no matter where FTR goes, I win. However, I think they're better suited for AEW at this point with the matches. But I think FTR could do anything.
Yeah.
I think they're so talented. I love Dax. I love his passion for the business. I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but the guy's a history buff. He knows everything. Like, he talks about tag teams I've never even heard of. It's crazy how well-rounded this guy is, and I love it. So
yeah, for sure.
I would love to see. I mean, I don't, like at this point, I win. Like I love seeing wrestlers jump ship from different companies to see different aspects. Like I love how Cody jumped to WWE, and yet, like, look how good he's done there. He's done better than he did in AEW. I love Roman's promo a couple weeks ago when he told him you ran when you want to be Stardust. You start your own promotion. You can't get yourself over. You run from that. You run back here. Like there's so much truth to that, and I love when storylines relate truth. And Paul Heyman's so heavily involved in booking the story. And I think that's why it's as good as it is. It really is. So
yeah, I mean, not to make this a WrestleMania preview show, but I mean, I said it last week on Raw Down, and the main concern that I had with going into the Cody and Roman match was you needed to make that transition from having Sammy as the main catalyst. You need to make that transition from Sammy to Cody work. Yeah, and I think they've done that flawlessly. Like I'm at the point where if they had done Roman and Sammy at WrestleMania, and I was the biggest advocate of it, I would have been disappointed if they hadn't gone through with Roman and Cody instead, because that's how big of a match it feels. So like the build to this story, the build to this match has been great. I'm excited to see their final confrontation on Friday, and I can't wait to see FTR join WWE next SmackDown and form a faction with Cody Rhodes, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, here we go. We got a new guy here. What's up, Jaco Robertson? Thank you for joining us tonight.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see who the next AEW person is to jump back to WWE. But listen to the guys to the debate show coming out this Monday. You're not going to want to miss it. Chad always makes great points. But his comment on Cody, I'm not even going to ruin it for you here as much as I want to say it. You guys need to check on that. And if you're reading the text I just saw, you're talking about Takeshita versus
Oh, no, not Takeshita. you got to get better with your Japanese wrestlers. Daniel Garcia versus Hiroshi Tanahashi at Super Card of Honor. Let's fucking go, baby. Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah, I was reading a little thing and my eyes are terrible. I don't wear my glasses like I should. But that's great.
What a match.
Did you see the picture, Ace? That's sick as fuck. That picture Ace sent of Bret Hart watching ATV. Did you look at that?
Yes, I'm seeing it now.
That's going up on the Tavern Instagram. That's got to go up on the Tavern Instagram.
Hilarious.
That's the best thing I've ever seen. Oh, look, what is this? Oh God, forget that.
Oh, they're offering us promotion.
The Rock.
We have viewers, followers.
That could happen. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen. If The Rock,
I would love to see it happen. I'm going to be there for WrestleMania 40. I'll see that.
I'm going to be there for WrestleMania 40.
Hey,
my backyard. So Philadelphia. I work in Philly, so it's a beautiful thing. I'm putting in for that week off soon. But listen, I think we're at a great time in wrestling. We got great stories in WWE. We got great stories in AEW. It's WrestleMania week. We got
Tanahashi versus Daniel Garcia. That made my night.
We got a pay-per-view for Ring of Honor on Friday night. We got NXT Stand and Deliver on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon here, which I think what a great way they did the Gargano match to come back and finally get his revenge on Grayson.
Look at you actually praising NXT.
I don't even watch it. I was just reading about it today. I'm like, that's so smart. Like, I love that they did that. There's like perfect build to that. So
that's good. This Mania weekend's going to be very good. I think it's going to impress a lot of
honestly, other than those two fatal or four-way tag team matches, it's a pretty solid card that's pretty good build to most matches. A lot of people are down on it, and I just don't see why.
And even those fatal four-ways, like, they'll be fine. Like, they weren't needed.
No, but here's my thing. You could have had an awesome one-night pay-per-view WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This was built up as a one. But I said this on Raw Down. I think you'll appreciate this, too. The fatal four-way matches, they're being built up as WrestleMania showcase matches, and the fact that there's no like title or title shot on the line, I think the fact that it's just they were fighting for a spot on the WrestleMania card, I think that kind of solves the issue that we've all been saying, like WrestleMania doesn't feel like WrestleMania because everyone fights on it. Like, you know, they're fighting for a spot to be on WrestleMania. I kind of appreciated it in that regard, but still it's not needed at all.
I kind of feel like, hey, how could we get 8 more teams on WrestleMania?
Yeah. To be fair, like I'm happy that Chad Gable's on the card. I'm happy that
Chad Gable definitely deserves it, but he could have been in a tag team match. They could have, like you got forced women's tag teams over there. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Like it just, Chelsea's been. I've enjoyed her work.
She's been great. I'm happy that she's on the card.
I'm curious to where that story is going with her going after Adam Pearce every week. I don't know if it's leading to Cardona coming back eventually or something. But
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's just fun stuff. Man, so we got a great week of wrestling ahead. Any other closing thoughts on AEW tonight?
Just an overall, decent show. I think some of the matches could have elevated it a little bit, but overall you're seeing that the storytelling is, I know we always talk about the storytelling, but they're definitely enhancing the way that they tell stories. I think you're building up to a lot of big matches. I like that we're seeing a lot more factions getting involved too, like the Elite, the Combat Club, the Outcasts. Like we're seeing a lot of good faction wars happening, which is good. So overall, I think AEW's really, hitting a good peak right now, which they definitely need.
I agree. I feel like I love the storytelling because we still don't know what's going on with Callis. So it's like giving you reason when you turn into the show in the beginning and the story builds throughout the show. It's like, oh, you're not going to shut it off. And then it leaves you, oh, I need to tune in next week to see. So it's definitely better storytelling. It's more of that soap opera-ish storytelling when they're leaving you with the cliffhangers like that and stuff like that. So definitely love what AEW is doing right now. And on top of great stories, it's always great wrestling.
Yeah.
I wonder how much was a Mike Mansour has helped come up with this pattern since he's joined the company to if this is any of his work in there.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
So,
it has to be.
It definitely seems like it. So, no, like it's fun. I don't know where it's going. I don't know. The Monday after Raw, you think what's his Jay Lethal shows up on Monday Night Raw? You think anybody debuts that night?
Jay Lethal or Jay White?
Jay White, sorry. Wrong
Jay
Jay.
Lethal.
Wrong guy, Jay White.
I don't know. I mean,
well, how about this? Let's ask this instead. Do you think this Monday Raw after Mania is going to be better than the last few years? Because I kind of feel like they've went away from that special Raw the last few years with Vince in charge. Now that Triple H is back, you think he's going to try and bring it back?
Yeah, I mean, they could just bring out Cody and have him talk for 10 minutes and it'll be better than the last few Raw after Manias. They were saying that it's going to be the biggest Raw after Mania. They were hyping it up to be the biggest Raw after Mania, the dirt sheets. So I'm expecting some big things. I'm sure we're going to get some NXT call-ups. Maybe we'll get a signing or two. But
if Braun Breaker loses the title at Stand and Deliver, he's showing up on Raw on Monday.
Well, I think if Braun Breaker loses the title, if Carmelo Hayes can't win the title, the loser of that match is going to Raw. I know that for certain.
Okay. You have an inside scoop on that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The same guy that told me that FTR is coming to SmackDown.
Oh, man. That guy's 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, this was so much fun. Thank you for joining me tonight, filling in for the great Mike Belcaster, who's resting up before he heads out to Hollywood tomorrow to join Mania.
Yes.
It'll be a fun week, guys. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Head over to, hold on, I got to find a graphic. TheTurnbuckleTavern.com. There it is. Follow us everywhere you possibly can. Follow, like, and subscribe. Leave us some comments. Leave us reviews. It helps so much. Please, please, please. Everywhere you possibly can. And also, the new Instagram for Fig Night, official Fig Night. You'll want to follow that this weekend as well. When you're done following us everywhere, go buy some shirts and some Turnbuckle Tavern merchandise over on Teespring. And we also have more shirts over on ProWrestlingTees.com/tavern. Again, all the links are on TheTurnbuckleTavern.com. When you're done with that, call the tavern, leave a message, 304-404-2004. Let them know that you love seeing young Anthony on the wrap-up show, or tell him, Tyson, that you hated him. That's okay.
Hey.
Well, I said Tyson. I didn't say it was me. But before we go, plug yourself, dude. Tell everybody where they can find you, all your shows you're on.
You can find me on the Raw Down every Thursday right here on the Turnbuckle Tavern. Tomorrow, biggest episode of the year, WrestleMania preview and prediction show as I defend my longest reigning Raw Down Predictions Championship.
Since the OG Fit Kid?
Probably. I'll obviously successfully retain my title this weekend.
Oh, look at
but
sorry.
Yeah. It'll be a good prediction show, so you should definitely tune into it. And you can now see me on, or you can hear me on the Titantron with myself, Tyler, Dewan, Kevin, and Matt. I'm still getting a specific day for the release. It's going to fluctuate. But you could every week, we're dropping an episode. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcast right now. Make sure that wherever you find us, to leave us a 5-star review. Always helps out. Follow, hit the bell for notifications whenever you get the chance. And follow us on Instagram at the Titantron, where you get all updates on all things wrestling, as well as whenever we post episodes, you get those updates as well.
Tyson stopped watching Raw.
You're welcome back anytime, especially tomorrow. It'll be a good
It's a
episode.
fun show. Don't give up on it. They do a great job over there.
It's a fun time.
But dude, thank you again for joining the show tonight and filling in for Mike. Mike should be back next week when he returns from La La Land.
La la.
But I guess that's it for now. Any closing thoughts before we say goodbye to our devoted fans?
Can I say the last line?
Sure.
Can I say the closing line?
Yeah,
All
sure.
right.
Here you go. You got it.
Peace, love, and sports entertainment.
Oh no. It's why would you do that, Jericho? It's peace, love, and pro wrestling.
Happy wrestling.